What's up, guys? Today I want to talk about how I got into the best shape of my life by doing Calisthenics Circuits. I'm going to give a bit of a lengthy backstory here first, so if you don't want to watch that, just click ahead to whatever chapter I'll have it marked. This doesn't necessarily tie into the circuits themselves, but here we go. So, a couple years ago, I was working minimum wage and I hated it. I was done. I didn't want to do it anymore. I wanted to leave. So I saved up as much money as I could. I sold pretty much everything besides some clothes, my barbell, some weight plates, and a pair of squat stands, and I bought an RV. I loaded up that RV with my stuff, and I went on the road, quit my job, and I left. Now, if you didn't know, if you're a U.S. citizen, there is land owned by the Bureau of Land Management that is technically yours. You're allowed to stay on that for 14 days at a time free. A lot of that stuff is closing up now, sadly, because a lot of people are trashing it. But you can do that. So I did that for 6 months. I was out there for 6 months just lifting barbells, doing squats in the woods. People would come to camp and they'd be like, what is this guy doing? I would scare old people. You know, it was fun. I liked it. And eventually I ended up in that same RV on a ranch that I stayed at for a year and a half. Kind of got a job there. Everything kind of leveled out. It was fun. And I figured I wanted more out of my training. When I got there, I was 142, shredded, 5'8". When I started lifting, I was 115, 5'8", so I had a decent amount of muscle, but I was still pretty small and I was still very weak. I wanted strength, and I became obsessed with the program Starting Strength. I read all the books. When I was doing my work, I'd be listening to Mark Ribito in my ear and just listening to his podcasts. I decided I was going to do it. And so I ran it, and I got pretty strong. You know, it worked pretty well. Starting Strength got my squat up to above 300 pounds for the first time, which was nice, but it came at a terrible cost. One of the main things with running Starting Strength is they say, you know, if you're small, you should drink a gallon of milk to get bigger. And I figured, well, gallon of milk, you know, milk has the perfect macro ratio, right? It's only going to go to muscle. You're not going to get fat from milk, right? So if 1 gallon's good, why not a gallon and a half? So I force-fed a gallon and a half of milk every single day for months. And I got up to 190 pounds, fat, love handles, big gut, round face. My squat was only a little over 300. I figured this is not worth it. This was not a good trade-off. And I'm not blaming the program. I'm blaming myself for being led astray and thinking that milk was going to all build muscle. That was just stupid. So I needed a change. So I decided I'd cut back down. I left and went back to the city. I ended up being 145 pounds after that. Figure that. Months of force feeding and looking fat just for 3 pounds of muscle. That's fun, right? So I was done, you know. I didn't want to do barbell training anymore. Starting Strength, that minimalist program, had worn me out. Doing the same exercises over and over, day after day, week after week. I had never done that before. I had never done a minimalist program, and it burned me out on barbell training. So I went straight to calisthenics. I figured I'm done with this. I'm doing calisthenics. So I had fun for a couple months. You know, I was seeing how my barbell strength transferred over to calisthenics skills. It was a good time. And then I stumbled upon something called a down workout. Now, if you didn't know, a down workout is a rep scheme that descends usually from 10, and it is usually used in calisthenics. So a 10 down push-up workout would be 10 reps, 9 reps, all the way down to 1. You could set it up however you want. But I started doing these, and I figured I like circuits, so why not make a circuit of it? So I do a 10 down, push-ups, pull-ups, and ab wheel or something like that. Then I figured, why just 10 down? Why not 10 down and up? So I was doing 10 down and up, 10 all the way down to 1, 1 all the way back up to 10, a couple exercises, and I eventually settled on what would become the framework of the next couple years of my training. And this is how I got into the best shape of my life. So what I did, and start off by saying I neglected the lower body this whole time. I didn't really train my lower body. And actually it kind of maintained all right. I didn't really build anything, but it maintained. So what I did with these circuits is that I set up a circuit of 5 exercises that would hit all the fundamental movement patterns of the upper body. So I had a horizontal push and pull, vertical push and pull, and then I did some kind of ab thing. And I would make a rep scheme. So one of my favorites, an example here, is I would do 10 down and up of towel pull-ups, dips, ring rows, decline pike push-ups, and ab wheel. And I would do that circuit, and I would write down my time and how long it took me to do it. And over time, I had a list of like 10 to 15 different circuits that I liked. I would try out a circuit. If I liked it, I'd keep it. If I didn't, I'd scrap it, till I had like 10 to 15 of them. And what I did to make progress is every time I'd come in, I'd choose one of those circuits, and I would just try to beat my time. Now you might be thinking already, this sounds difficult, and that's because it is. So in my mind, there are 3 ways to continue making progress in your training, whether it be barbells, calisthenics, whatever. You can increase the amount of weight, you can increase the number of reps, or you can decrease the amount of time it takes to do those reps. And with a barbell, it's very easy. Add a couple 2.5 pounders on each side, you're good. Do an extra rep. Even with more advanced calisthenics stuff, you can just do straight reps. You know, if a pseudo planche push-up, it was hard for you to get 5 reps. Next time you come in, do 6. That's easy. The most difficult way to get in shape, I think, is to decrease time, and that's why no one does it. But you would be surprised at how well this works. So first off, I was in the best shape of my life. After doing these calisthenics circuits and beating my time over and over for months, I'd go to my job and there's stairs there were a couple flights, I could just run up and down them, no problem, do it all day. I felt like I could go and just do a marathon if I wanted to. Probably wouldn't be smart, but I felt like I could have. I was in such good shape that nothing would faze me. When it comes to muscle, I maintained all of the muscle I had built with barbell training, and I would have built more, I know for a fact, but I wasn't eating. I wasn't eating very much because I just didn't care. You got to eat if you want to build muscle. So at the very least, it is muscle sparing, and I can almost guarantee if you provided the right amount of nutrients, you would build muscle too. I got stronger. My calisthenics skills, I would try them out every once in a while, and I got stronger at it. And just all around, it works. You don't expect it to work, but it works. So the way that you can set up these calisthenics circuits, it's pretty much endless. You can do whatever you want to. I like to set it up with 5 exercises with all of the movement patterns, but you could do whatever you want. You could have 10 exercises, you could have 3, whatever you want to do, as long as you're decreasing the time, as long as you're holding yourself accountable. Every rep is still full range of motion. You're not cutting down the amount of time it takes to do each rep necessarily. You're cutting down the amount of time you take walking from one exercise to another. It's going to get you fit. And if you hit your goal, say for example, that circuit I talked about earlier, it took me 55 minutes the first time I did it. I eventually wanted to get to 30 minutes, and I got to just above it, a couple seconds above. Well, what I would do is when I would hit my goal, I would either add another couple reps. I might do like a 10 down and up and down or something, or I might add an exercise, or I might just move on to another circuit. It's very customizable. And at the heart of this, what is this? It's progressive overload. How do you build muscle? How do you build strength? How do you get more fit? How do you lose fat? You use progressive overload. Muscle strength conditioning, it's happening, you know? You don't have to lift a barbell. But what I'm doing now, I stopped doing this stuff eventually because I wanted to bulk up again. I bulked up to 176, and I've been on a cut for a couple weeks now. I'm down to 170, and I've started adding these back in. And I can tell you already, the change in just my breathing and the way I feel just from doing these circuits for a little while, it's night and day. I don't know what else I can really say about it. It's fun. That's kind of the main thing too. Doing circuits like this, it's fun to kind of choose what you want to do and just beat your time. It gives you a challenge every time. Obviously getting an extra rep on a barbell is challenging, but I feel like this is challenging in a fun way. It's novel. You can change up the exercises, do whatever you want, but yeah, this is how I got into the best shape of my life, Calisthenics Circuits. If you haven't given them a try before, I definitely recommend it. Set it up however you like. The options are endless, and if you do give it a try, let me know, because I'd love to see your workouts if you post videos of them or whatever, because this stuff is cool. So catch you guys next time.